This is the plaintiff, Derek. He says he hired the defendant to work at his CBD essential oil business, and she turned out to be one of those nightmare employees. He was forced to change the locks because she would sit in her car in the parking lot. She disclosed company business after signing a non-disclosure agreement, and she has cost him money and lost income because of her antics. He's here seeking the recoupment of the $2,131.99 he's out, and is suing the defendant here and now for that. This is the defendant, Crystal. She says she should have known something was up when in her interview he told her he'd been through 11 employees in just 2 months. But he hired her on the spot and she needed the job. Soon after, she was fired for God knows why. She got another job and is losing money to be here today. If anyone's gonna walk out of this court a winner, it is not gonna be the plaintiff. She's accused of not working out. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $800 for lost wages and stress.
All parties, please use your right hand. Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you. Okay, Derek, you own Tropical Essential Oils, which is what, a CBD sales site?
Yes, ma'am. It's
Okay.
yes, ma'am.
So, and CBD is what?
It's the legal part of the marijuana plant without the psychedelic high.
Right. So it has no THC. And what are the properties of CBD that make people want to buy it?
What's the properties?
Yeah, like what does it do? Why do people buy CBD?
Well, it just makes them feel better. It helps with many, many ailments.
Relaxes you, helps some people fall asleep, et cetera, et cetera. So you have an actual storefront?
We have 2 of them. Yes, ma'am.
2 of them. All right. Now, the defendant, Crystal, used to work for you.
Correct.
How long did you work for him?
For about 2 months.
2 months. You are suing her here today for $2,100 some odd because according to you, you had to fire her and she caused another employee to quit and that caused you damages.
Correct.
So tell me what the problem is.
Okay. We hired her on the 27th of August. We caught her a couple times outside in her car when she was supposed to be inside watching our store.
What was she doing in the car?
She said looking for money. My general manager, Leah, had asked her not to do that, and then she drove around the corner.
Wait, so when you go there one day, you see her doing what?
She was out in her car. I was coming to bring her paycheck.
Right.
And so when she saw me, she came inside. And then when I left, you have to do a U-turn to come back. And when I did, she was back out in her car for a second time.
Did you tell her, what are you doing in your car? You need to be in the store?
I did.
And what did she say?
She said she was looking for money. But I mean, I just handed her paycheck, so I think
Well, I don't care. You look for money later. You don't walk out.
Yeah,
and
that's-
I mean, you're paid to mind the store. Was the door unlocked? And
it was unlocked.
was she in a place where she would see somebody walk in?
She could.
Yeah. All right. So then what happens? She got fired by you. Tell me what caused the firing.
Well, I'm really, Leah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. So she was supposed to be working from 10 to 6 every day. That was her shift. And she called me at about, or texted me at about 1:30 to tell me that her daughter had a headache and she had somebody to pick her up but not somebody to watch her. And that if I didn't come let her off, she was going to close the store down and lock it up.
Okay.
So I told her that really put me in a tough spot because I also had things I had to do, and that's why she was supposed to be there.
Right.
So I came and got the key from her. I let her go, and then the next day was her day off, and that's when I let her know that we no longer
Texted her and told her you're fired.
Yeah, we no
longer need your services.
Yes.
All right. What happened that day that you had to leave? Your daughter was sick?
Yes, my daughter, she was in the clinic, and there has been plenty of situations where I've had problems with my kids in school, but I've always had somebody to pick them up. But that specific day, I didn't have anybody.
Okay.
And I offered to, I was like, can I go get her and I can drop her off and come right back? And she said, no, don't worry about it.
How old's your daughter?
She is 10.
They have a right to fire you. I mean,
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
according to you, she signed an agreement before her employment that prohibits her, a non-disclosure agreement, prohibits her from disseminating trade secrets, but also goes further and prohibits her from smat talk to another
Exactly.
employee.
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody who works for you, past, present, future, et cetera, et cetera. And that's why you're suing her here today?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, explain that. So according to you, she spoke to another employee
Yes, so she was fired on the 16th
of?
of October. She came in to give her shirts back and get her last paycheck on the 17th, and then that Friday, the 18th, I was working the one location, and our other employee was working the Cocoa store. She texted me that Crystal was bothering her. She texted me again a few minutes later that she was getting really tired of having to be a go-between.
Can I see the texts?
Yes, yes.
Hey, Crystal called. She needs pay stub from last week as well. She also said she needs you to sign some type of papers. I'm so tired of being the messenger for you guys. And then she puts like a LOL face, I guess trying to soften it. You answer, first off, I never told her to message you. He don't wanna messaging, you ask her to stop because I asked her to stop messaging me. I will take care of it. And then the employee says, she keeps calling the store asking for stuff at 2:08, and then at 2:22, she says, okay, I really can't deal with the unprofessional ways. And she told me I was next to be fired. I'm sorry, but I'm leaving. That comes out of left field.
Yeah.
I'll lock the store and leave the keys on the ledge.
She left our keys outside.
Who are
to
you
both
hiring?
Stores.
I know, but I know you're desperate for bodies, but maybe you should be a little more. How many employees have you gone through?
Quite a few.
Yeah.
Quite a few.
Maybe you need to be a little more discerning.
I agree with you on that. Yeah.
And you answer, if you were next to be fired, you would have been. Why would you walk away from a job based on what some disgruntled ex-employee said is beyond me, but I wish you well. We need our shirts back. You are now trespassed from our stores as well. If we see you on property, we will be forced to call up the police. That's kind of uncivil. I'll come in Friday for my last paycheck and to turn my shirts in. So according to her, you told her that she was next to be fired?
They were being unprofessional and disrespectful to me and her.
Okay.
And she was upset with them. She wasn't upset with me. I can't make somebody quit.
Right.
So they were being very disrespectful and unprofessional from the time that I started work. And
How so?
Because they would not disrespectful but unprofessional. Like when I started, Derek automatically told me their whole life story. He told me that Leah, she was on drugs really bad, and they had to move from one state to another with his daughter, and he was like, I don't even trust her either, and she was on drugs and all of this craziness.
Are you saying that to make them look bad, or?
No, I'm just saying.
Because apparently it didn't bother you when you were sitting there chit-chatting. I mean, some people are more open. How else were they unprofessional?
Just Derek, when customers would come in and they don't buy anything, he would cuss, and not cuss them out, but to me, he would like, oh, they're, and just being, he's very unprofessional.
Okay.
And
How many employees did they go through before you?
he told me that they went through 11 people within 2 months.
He said that during the interview?
Yes.
Why
But
didn't you
I was
run?
Desperate. I know.
Yeah, that's kind of a
I
flag.
know. I was desperate at the time, and I have 2 kids, so I have to work. So.
Okay, let's talk about your lawsuit and what and you actually have a counterclaim against them too, but let's talk about your lawsuit. $190 to change the locks. What's that about?
Because the keys were left outside, we didn't really
By?
know. By Ashley.
Okay.
Which, by the way, we do have a signed affidavit of her saying that the reason she left was because of what Crystal had told her about being
Oh,
fired.
let me see that affidavit.
Okay.
On Friday, I was working at the Cocoa store. There was a former employee there by the name of Crystal who'd been fired a few days before, who was calling me. I can see now that she was trying to get me involved in her issues and being fired. She was telling me that I was going to be fired next, among other things, getting me worked up. Crystal continued to call and bother me. The reason why I walked out that day was solely because of the things she said to me. I regret leaving. Did you rehire her?
No.
No.
How did you get this?
I had contacted her and asked her if she would sign me an affidavit.
Okay. And what were you going to say?
Ashley, I have text messages from her. They're suing her as well. I have text messages from her stating
Did you agree
that,
to drop a lawsuit
I
against her?
did.
Okay,
Yeah.
now we get to the
So
bottom
there's
of
no
it.
way
So
she
you
would've
agreed to
signed
drop
that.
a lawsuit against her if she would sign this, pinning it on her?
Well, no,
Okay.
no, if she would just tell the truth.
Okay.
It wasn't pinning it on her, it was just
Okay.
to tell the truth.
I got it. All right, so you are asking for the change of locks from Ashley leaving?
Yes.
Then the monies to change the alarm security code. Why would you need money to change an
They
alarm
had to come in
security?
and reprogram the security
Why
code.
couldn't you just reprogram it?
I don't know how.
Okay.
On both stores.
Monies for loss of income from October 18th through October 20th, all of these days of income, because you usually make X on a Thursday and X on a Friday. Is that how you figured it
Yeah,
out?
we want, go ahead.
Sorry, I compared it to what we had made on that exact day last year.
Last year. Why would you having to close for 3 days be a foreseeable consequence of that? Why wouldn't you just hire somebody else quickly?
Well, we really couldn't find anybody quickly. You know, I'll have 10 interviews scheduled one day and nobody will show up.
And then also money for coming to court. You're the one who filed the lawsuit. That's why you had to take 2 days off. All right, so now you got a counterclaim against them for $800. Money for lost wages, and then stress, $500 for stress? Is that for real? Yeah?
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. I'm so interested in this. What do you think? Do most employees really care about their jobs, or do they just put in the time?
I think they really care. Because, like myself, I work at a school. I really care about my students, and I really love my job. So,
That's great. That's great. What do you say, sir?
Put in the time.
Why do you say?
I've been an employee.
Ever cared about the job?
Maybe 1 or 2 days along the way.
Okay, last word.
I think it's a mixture, 50-50. It depends, again, about your passion, what you're passionate about. I love fitness instruction, so I happen to love it, but other people, you know, they have to find what you love.
I gotcha.
What you love.
I gotcha. Going inside the courtroom.
Did you know that you had signed a contract that says this stuff about how you can't, do you remember signing that?
I remember signing something stating the rules, what to do and what not to do in the store.
Let me see her original signature on the non-disclosure
And
agreement.
this was read to her. The girl sat down. I wasn't there, but
Who's the girl? You have a child working for you?
I read it to
It's a
each
woman.
employee.
It's not a girl.
Okay.
All right. Did you read it to her, or did someone else read it?
I
to her?
personally
Why did
read
he
it
just
to
say the girl read it to her? Who was he referring to?
I don't know.
All right, hand it over. Blah blah blah. Trade secrets. You can't divulge. Yada yada yada. Or anywhere, or write. You can't divulge, share, say, speak, type, or write anything negative or false about our company. Blah blah blah. To any persons, newspapers. Blah blah blah. Coworkers. So basically, it says you can't smack talk. You can't.
I didn't.
You don't have free speech. Did you understand that that's what you had signed?
I understand it, but I didn't talk any smack. Ashley,
Oh, yes, you did. You told Ashley.
was on my side.
I know you told Ashley. I agree with you. I don't see
I
why
did.
someone would quit just because you told them that. They had
Exactly.
to quit because they didn't like where they were working. Because
you.
why would anybody quit because a disgruntled employee says, blah, blah, blah. Does Ashley say she did anything but smack talk? Like, was there something in particular, like you guys are about to be in bankruptcy, or I don't know, like something like that?
She
It was just
said,
literally her saying, they're jerks, right?
No, she said that we were going to fire her
That's
next.
true, that we were going to fire her next.
Yeah.
But what thinking human being quits?
Well, and you see in my
You can't
text,
fire me, I quit. Of course.
In my text,
but why
I said
I
that.
know, but I'm curious. Why didn't you, in your text back, say to her, "Honey, we're not going to fire you. That's ridiculous. Just go back." And then found somebody else and fired her.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Then you wouldn't have been closed for 4 days. In other
You are
words,
right, Your Honor.
here's what we got. I agree with you. She violated the agreement. I don't see how Ashley quit because of that. I don't care that Ashley says she quit because of that. I think Ashley says she quit because of that, because she no longer had a lawsuit filed against her. But I don't really care. The point is that what you are entitled to are damages that actually flow from her breach. You see?
Right.
And so much of this actually flows from maybe management style or hiring errors, as opposed to her breach. Do you really think that I'm going to order an ex-employee of yours that you fired to pay you $2,131.99 for you having to change your security code, you having to close 3 days because you don't, apparently you can't find a single person to cover the store, you having to change locks?
Well, that's in the contract, though. She agreed that she would pay for the locks if she breached the contract.
Let me see where that is.
That's on the very last page it's mentioned, and I believe it's mentioned 3 times in the contract total.
Blah, 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 termination or leave. You have to return the keys, which she did. You have to return the shirt. We also reserve the right to change the locks. If the keys aren't returned, none of it
Okay,
applies in this
you're
situation.
right, I'm sorry.
All right, so here's what's gonna happen. On your lawsuit against them for lost wages, for having to come to court plus stress, you can't just create a lawsuit out of nowhere, 0. That's just like goofy. Your remedy is to come to court, defend this, and win. Okay, and on their lawsuit against you for all of these things because you said these people are jerks and they're gonna fire you next, and then some idiot believes it. I'm just in shock that she wouldn't just block you from her cell phone, which is the normal thing to do. I think a lot of your problems are due to either management style or, I shouldn't even really say that, who you're hiring. I mean, this is like, I don't know what you're doing, just hiring the most desperate of people who are jobless, maybe for a reason, and then going to end up doing this to you.
Right.
So I don't know why this is happening to you, but I cannot call her the reason why you're out $2,000 and something and have to close a store for 4 days. So I'm going to find in your favor because she did violate it, and I'm going to order you to pay them $1. That is what we call a Pyrrhic victory. Okay? Good luck, folks.
Well, the defendant is prancing out of the courtroom here. You didn't get $800.
No.
No, it cost you $1.
Yes, it did.
The case cost you $1. You missed the job?
No, not at all.
Not at all?
Not at all.
Were you
I
surprised to
have
get
a better
sued?
job anyway, so
You did?
yes.
Okay. So everything's all right?
Yes, everything is A-okay.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. The
Thank
door is that way. All right, Derek. I think the judge is a little mystified by your employees, not mystified, but about your employment practices and
Well, I thought that
what's going on.
I thought that the employee contract
Yeah.
was enough. It said she couldn't talk to anyone, and she did.
Well, you didn't win. You didn't prevail. And how can you stop an employee from talking? It's kind of
Well,
hard
I
to
guess
do.
in this case you can't.
Well, it's a non-disclosure, and if they agree to it, then they should abide by it.
Well, non-disclosure is not giving away trade secrets.
Well,
She didn't give away trade secrets.
Well, she talked an 18-year-old girl into,
How do you know?
well, because it's in
Sign
writing.
an affidavit.
You've gone through how many employees in 2 months?
That
11?
was-
Now
that
12.
That was not
That
true.
wasn't true.
No.
No, that was, it's probably 18
We've been
months.
open.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank you.
cost you $1.
That's
Okay,
Hey,
thank
it's
you
a
very
good
much.
experience.
You got $1, put it that way. All right, Harvey?
So, Doug, the $1 victory is really just showing that the case is kind of BS. A Pyrrhic victory, which your judge talked about, is the technical translation is an empty victory.